online streaming to start, but we are going to just briefly start seated, so you can make your way into just a comfortable seat. Always recommend sitting up onto your folded blanket. Here we go. Okay. All right. Morning, everybody. Okay, so we're going to start seated. Those of you streaming in today, if you could have a blanket or something to sit on and something like a strap. So if you don't have a strap, anything that's, if you have a dog leash, if you have a necktie, if you have something along, there's a lot you can do. I think over the pandemic, we all learned to be resourceful and creative, at least in the yoga world, with our props and whatnot. So some sort of a strap or strap-like object, and then sit onto your blanket. And we're just going to briefly start seated. So come into a seat, but take the first few moments here and just get some nice big circles with your body. So really easy. It's not meant to be like a stiffness. It's really just kind of like go with the flow. Your shoulders are going to kind of wiggle and sway. Your spine is going to move in a number of different directions. So really the intention here is I want you to start to loosen up a little bit around the hips and the low back. A lot of times when we start our practice with any sort of seated breath work, there can be some distractions, especially if anything's going on with the hips or with the low back. Go ahead and reverse your directions here. So we want to make sure that you're able to sit comfortably. So a few big circles going in reverse. And then eventually you're just going to bring yourself in towards stillness. So let those circles just start to fade. Bring yourself into a position where you're able to get pretty well anchored through both of your sit bones. A lot of times you might notice a little more heaviness in one than the other. So see what you can do to coax that opposite sit bone down. Try to find just a nice tall spine. So shoulders softly fall back. I want you to feel lifted through the chest, but not to the point that you're stretching out the rib cage or really changing the shape of your torso. And then just let your hands rest. Take a moment to close the eyes and just lose any expression that might be on the face. So letting go of any tightness around the jaw, any tightness around the eye sockets, just really let it all be super relaxed and neutral. And then give it a couple of your deepest breaths. So especially if you are feeling a little bit, frazzled or stressed or just busy today, take a couple of clearing breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, just at your own pace. Just really deep breath in, full breath out. Take about 2 more. Just at your own pace, meaning you breathe in as fully and as completely as you can, and you do your best to release every single drop on that exhale. As with any other part of our practice, the breath is often unique to you. You're not typically going to be breathing at the exact same pace as anybody else. So try to let some of that go, some of those comparisons, whether it be what we're doing physically, whether it be the way we're breathing, any other aspect of the practice. It's you, it's unique. Really just give yourself that full attention this morning to feel and to be in your own body and to tailor your practice to be really conducive to what you came here for this morning. Some days we come to the mat because we maybe need a little bit more energy and we want to get the blood flowing, we want to move a little bit more. Some days we come to the mat because it's just a nice quiet space to close our eyes and to breathe, and we just kind of want to step away from some of that more active piece. So wherever you're at this morning, take a few breaths to close the eyes, to breathe, and to really acknowledge what it is that may have brought you to the mat today. And for the overthinkers in the room, don't overthink it. Being one myself, I know how that sometimes goes. But just try to connect, try to feel your body. Your body can tell you a lot. Just noticing where the energy level is at, kind of noticing if there's any body part in particular that might be speaking up. And just take a few more breaths in stillness. Just really just giving yourself that chance to arrive this morning. And then on that next inhale, let's sweep the arms up and overhead. So take a long reach, spreading the fingers wide, stretch out a bit through the palms of the hands, and then reach behind your back as you exhale, interlace the hands together. And let's just take a couple breaths here, inhaling as you puff that chest, squeeze the palms in. You may even feel a little crack or something in the back. Give a little release to the neck as you need to. And if this is too intense, just placing your hands on your low back and hugging your elbows towards one another is going to give you the same result. So a couple big breaths. I want you to feel now like you are changing the shape of your spine just a little bit. There's a bit of a back bend, a bit of a lift. Take one more breath in. And then just soften as you exhale, bring it back to neutral. Hands back to your laps and take a nice big breath in here, sitting tall. And as you exhale, just start to hinge forward a little bit. Pause just a portion of the way down, reset those sit bones to make sure you're evenly rooted here. You feel like your belly button is pointing towards your lap. And then from there, you can choose to come a little further forward if that is something that feels good. If it doesn't, just stay where you're at. So always finding that hinge from the hips when we fold forward. So a little bit more like you're setting your belly button into your lap. And then that upper back, as long as it feels okay, you can get a little bit rounded through the upper back if that feels good. Just a couple more big breaths. Try to keep a strength, keep a steadiness to your breath. One more breath here. And on your next inhale, roll yourself up. Take it all the way back to that nice tall seat, big reach, big stretch. And twist left as you exhale. Bring that left hand down into the mat or floor behind you, right hand across. So you'll be able to push down into your left fingertips a little bit. Use your right hand like an anchor and double check to make sure your right sit bone stays grounded. Really nice tall chest here. You want to feel like you're turning the center of your chest without really affecting your hips. Take another breath in. Exhale, engage your core, bring it back to center, just resetting, soften those shoulders. We'll take a breath in, hands above the head, and then switch as you exhale, turning right. So now your right fingertips push down, left hand comes across. Couple of your deepest breaths. Try to still keep a nice strong breath, even if it's a little bit challenging when we twist. One more big breath in. And exhale again from the belly, bring it back to center. Let's give it a little reset. We're going to switch up the cross of our legs. So try to remember for the next 20 or so seconds which leg was crossed in front. Roll out your ankles. Just give a little stretch in through the legs here and make sure that strap is handy. We're going to need that strap in just a moment. Just a little release here through the legs. And as you come into your Sukhasana on the other side, bring the other leg in front. And let's just start, again, a little bit of release to try to settle things down around the hips and the low back. So a few seated cat-cows, you can just bring your hands onto your knees. And as you inhale, push the chest forward, lifting the chin, arch the back. And as you exhale, start to round the back. If you want a bit more, you can grab your knees and really kind of pull onto the knees to stretch out that back. So take just a few more at your own pace. So you're inhaling as you lift and arch and exhaling as you round and tuck. Always your pace, your range of motion. If it feels pretty intense, just take it down a notch or two. Let's take one more round. And then just bringing yourself back to center. Let's sit it up nice and tall. Go ahead and grab hold of your strap here. We'll just undo the strap. And the straps are pretty long, so I always like to just fold mine in half so it doesn't have like that loose end hitting you in the face. But if you have pretty broad shoulders, you might not be able to do so. So we're going to take the hands just out in front, give just a little tension onto the straps. So you want your hands just a little bit wider than your shoulders here. If you have anything going on with the shoulders, you might want to take the hands a little bit wider. We're going to do that same sort of cat-cow action with the spine here, but adding a little shoulder stretch. So keep it nice and taut. And as you inhale, you're going to start to arch the back. Lift up. You can look up if the neck's okay with that, and then squeeze the belly as you exhale, lower and round the spine, but keep some tension on the strap. So just move at your own pace. And if this is pretty intense, don't pull quite as tightly onto the strap and don't make such a big range of motion. So just take maybe two more here, just moving again at the pace of your own breath, but keeping that little bit of tension on the strap so that we're actually engaging the muscles around the shoulders here. And then once you next inhale, we're going to keep a neutral spine this time. So without back bending at all, reach the hands overhead and then just see how far back they go. And it's not a competition. Just bring them back however far you need to. Soften your shoulders, your elbows. So if you do feel tense in the shoulders, bending the elbows can help. Continue to pull on that strap just a little. It might be getting a little warm by now. Take another breath. And then on your next inhale, let's lift the hands straight back up. So you're going to let go of one end of the strap here, hopefully not the one with the loop that's going to clunk you in the face. So make your strap a little bit longer. I like to give the disclaimers because they're all things I've done. So you want your strap a little bit longer now. And we're just going to take it into sort of an L shape, that left hand out to the side. And then from here, you might need to slide it down a little bit. So just depending on the length of your arms, but a nice big reach, and then just see about maybe pulling that bottom arm back a little. Again, it's all what's okay with your body. So find what works. Give it about 2 more big breaths. And then inhale, just lift yourself right back up. Keep that little bit of tension on the strap. And exhale, L out to the other side. You can stay, or that right hand this time can start to reach back. And breathe. Let's take 1 more big breath. And then inhale, both arms back up. Stretch like you're trying to break that strap in half. And slowly exhale, lower it down. Just go ahead and release. Give a little reset to the shoulders. Let the blood start flowing again. Take a nice big breath in. And we're going to fold forward on this side. So as you exhale, come forward just a touch. Reset those sit bones long through the low back. And then from there, you can come down however far you need. Just be always conscious of your head position, especially in forward folds. A lot of times we kind of awkwardly hold the head in a shape. You can let it drop if that feels okay, but always just be conscious of what you're doing to your neck. Give it a few more big breaths, long through that low back. Good, 1 more breath here. And then inhale, rise, roll yourself all the way back up 1 final time. Long reach, big stretch. Big exhale, hands to heart. And we're going to set that strap off to the side for now. We'll use it a little bit later. You can toss your blanket off to the side and just come onto all fours. So go ahead and prop somewhere where you can reach them. Come onto the hands and the knees. And let's just give a little reset here. Give a roll or 2 to your spine. Take a moment to really press your hands into the mat. So you always want to make sure your wrist joint a little bit forward of your shoulder, your knuckles pushing into the floor. Give just a softening to the elbows here, and then take a big breath in, send that left leg straight back. Heel about hip height here, and then point, flex, roll that ankle a time or 2. Take another big breath in, really stretch that left leg long. And then swing it over to the right as you exhale, coming into a side bend. So your left foot to the right side of your mat, peek back over that right shoulder. So you want to look back at that left foot. There we go. And just a couple big breaths. So nice and long through that whole left side. Let's take 1 more full breath here. And then inhale back to your half spine balance. So lifting that left heel to about hip height. See if now your right hand can come off the floor. You can always just perch to the fingertips instead. Otherwise, right hand forward. Stretch as long as you can from those right fingertips to that left heel. Let's take another big breath in. And then round the back as you exhale, curl in, knee and elbow come together. We'll inhale again, lengthen. And exhale, curl in. Take 1 more inhale here, lengthen, reach it all nice and long. And then drop your hand as you exhale, step forward into a lunge, dropping that left foot between the hands. Give just a pulse or 2 of the hips. You want to make sure when you bend that knee, it stays behind your toes. Eventually inhale, push down through the foot, lift up through the arms, plug those shoulders in, and just give a couple big breaths. So try to feel long through the back of the neck. Your hips are dropping, your chest is tall. Take 1 more big breath in here. And then lower your hands down as you exhale, plant your hands to the floor. We're going to lift that back knee off the floor. Try to keep your hips low as you do, and then inhale your left hand to the sky. So turning your chest towards your bent knee. Keep your hips pretty level. We're really not moving the legs or the hips in any way here. Another deep breath in. And then lower that left hand as you exhale. We'll take that left foot and just see how lightly you can step it back. Very nice, very nice. Hold here in your plank. Take a big breath in, try to puff the upper back just a little bit. We're gonna lower to the belly. So if you'd like to drop the knees first, we'll exhale, come down all the way. Push those elbows straight back behind you as you come down. Once you come down, take a moment to just lengthen the legs Extend them nice and long behind you, and then light into the hands. We're going to inhale tiny cobra. Pull that chest forward, lifting up just gently, and then keep a good length through the spine as you lower, exhaling the way down. Inhale again, slowly rise. And exhale, lower down. Let's take one more. Inhale as you slowly rise, pulling that chest forward and up. Exhale, reset back down. Now stay right here. Take a big breath in. Try to feel your elbows squeezing towards your rib cage, and then push to the hands and the knees as you exhale. Take a few breaths in child's pose. So let the hips settle way back to the heels, the elbows and forearms gently resting onto the mat. And give a few little shimmies of the tail here, just sort of situate yourself. Take about 5 to 6 deep breaths here in your child's pose. So child's pose, a great moment to come off the hands. You can reset and roll the wrists. Great little stretch here for the low back. Let's take one more breath. And then on your next inhale, lift back up. Come back to all fours. Again, position those hands consciously. A lot of times we just end up putting a lot of strain in our wrists. Yoga being one of the few times we really tend to bear weight in the hands. So be conscious, spread those fingers, soften the elbows, and then right leg this time. We're going to inhale that right leg straight back, point, flex, roll the ankle joint. Try to keep your spine, your neck lengthened. Take another inhale. And then exhale, swing that right leg over, opposite side of your mat. Peek back over your left shoulder this time. So you're trying to peek back over your shoulder and look at that foot. You should feel some opening down the right side. Couple deep breaths. Anytime we're doing the side bend, breathing a little bit more deeply will typically intensify the stretch you're feeling. Let's take one more breath. And then inhale back through center, kick through the heel. Find that half spine balance. Try to keep your left fingers really spread, and then right fingers either perch up to your left fingers or take your left hand forward. And just notice if you do get a little bit unsteady, how you react. If you tend to tense up, if you start to hold your breath, try to let some of that go. Just allow yourself to be a little bit unsteady, a little bit wobbly. Let's take another breath in. And then curl in as you exhale, knee and elbow together. Inhale, big reach, lengthen here. And exhale, curl in. Take one more breath in, reach and lengthen. And then hand down as you exhale, we'll step through to lunge. Right foot comes between your hands, making sure it's forward enough that your toes are in front of your knee. Spread those toes really wide and breathe in. Push through the foot, lift the arms, rise up. Start to just set your drishti. So rather than looking around a lot, soft spot to anchor the gaze, or even close your eyes. Take a couple rolls of your wrists here. Let's take another big breath in. And then hands down as you exhale. We're going to push into the left hand this time. So lift that back knee, and then inhale your right hand to the ceiling, turning your chest towards the bent knee, keeping the hips nice and low. Feeling like from that left heel up to the crown of the head, there's a ton of space. We're really long here. Another big breath in. And then hand down on exhale. We're going to step forward this time. So just lightly step your left foot up parallel to your right. Feet can be a little bit closer than hips with distance. You can also take them a little bit wider if you feel at all unsteady. So soft bend to the knees. And when I say soft, if your low back bothers you, you can bend the knees quite a bit. So just take a moment and hinge, dangle, sway. Just do whatever it is that helps your body loosen up and reset a little bit here. And take about 3 more big breaths. And then your next inhale, rise halfway. We'll lengthen, feel that activation, shoulders pull away from ears, and let it all go as you exhale. Just sink back in, nice and easy. Inhale again, halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, let it go, fold in. This time we're going to rise to standing. So as you inhale, push through your feet, slowly rise, reaching the arms overhead at the very top. And exhale, hands to heart. Take a moment, close your eyes, soften your knee joints, and just come back to your breathing. Just a moment here to reset, to reconnect. Just feel the energy in your body. And then together we'll inhale, eyes can stay closed or just find that drishti once again, hands overhead. And exhale, dive forward, hinge from your hips, soften your knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold back in. Inhale, now to standing, root down, reach up. Come all the way to that tall Tadasana. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale again, rise up. And exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, deeper fold. Inhale all the way up, long and strong here through the legs. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, lift. And exhale, dive down. Inhale, halfway. Beautiful breath this morning, guys. Down dog on exhale, hands down, feet back. Take a few breaths, downward dog. Great chance here to pedal out your feet to really get some action happening here around the legs, the calves, the soles of the feet. So lifting and lowering your heels, gonna get the soles of the feet a little bit more, get into the calves a little bit more, bending and straightening the knees. You can get those hamstrings. You can also get some really good length here through your spine by pushing firmly into your hands, almost like you're trying to push your hands forward, sliding them to the top of your mat, and then sending your tailbone high the opposite direction. Take another big breath in. We'll walk slowly forward as you exhale, bringing your feet to your hands, coming back to the top of your mat, toes spread wide, and then inhale halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand tall, push down, reach up and long through the arms, and exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, rise. And exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway. Right leg steps back on exhale, come into your low lunge, drop your right knee onto the mat. And inhale, hands overhead, sweep long through the side bodies. Exhale, lower your hands down. Keep your fingers spread, elbows soft, and then inhale your way right into a plank, left foot meeting right foot. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale that left leg high, kick it to the ceiling. And step back to lunge. As you exhale that same lunge, we're going to drop the right knee again. And take a big breath in, lift up, sweep the arms. Exhale, forward fold, both hands on the mat, both feet top of your mat. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, now rise. Let's stand tall, long stretch. Exhale, hands to heart. Big breath in, rise up. And exhale, bow forward again. Inhale, halfway. This time left, excuse me, leg back. As you exhale, step long through the left leg, lower the left knee, and big breath in, hips drop, hands rise. Exhale, hands to the mat, frame that foot. We're gonna push into the hands a bit and inhale with a strong core, come to plank. Right foot next to left. Exhale, hips high, downward dog. Inhale, right foot to sky. Exhale, step it forward, left knee down to the floor. And take a big breath in, rise, hands above the head. Exhale, forward fold, both hands down, back up to the top of your mat. Take a breath in and lift halfway. Exhale, fold back in. Inhale all the way to standing, rising, sweeping the hands overhead and hands to your low back as you exhale. Make sure to soften your knees just a touch, and modified standing camel will inhale, lift up, puff that chest a bit, squeeze the elbows in, nothing too intense, just broaden the front of the chest. Take another big breath in. And then squeeze the belly, exhale back to neutral. Find your Tadasana, hands simply float by your sides. Give a little reset of the feet, soften the shoulders. And your biggest breath in, hands above the head. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale here halfway, find a long spine. And then right leg back as you exhale. Let's take a crescent lunge. So make sure those feet are a good hips width apart. Bend the back knee a bit and take your breath in as you rise. Hands can come overhead. They can always come to your heart if your shoulders are a little bit tired. But try to keep those feet hips width distance apart. Your hips squared forward. Your front toes popping out in front of your front knee. You guys had such a rhythmic breath going. It got really quiet. Are we breathing? Suddenly it make you balance and you stop breathing. Keep that breath just nice and strong. Just try to breathe through any unsteadiness. And again, it's really tempting when we are a little wobbly to just like try to fight it. Let your body learn how to balance. Let your body get stronger. Take another breath in here. And warrior two, as you exhale, we're simply going to pivot that back heel down, stretch your arms out nice and long, and then just take a reset. We'll inhale, straighten the front knee, lift the hands above the head, and back to warrior two as you exhale, a little bit lower if you can. Strong bend into that front knee, reach out nice and long here through your arms. Just take a couple breaths, turn those fans on, it's getting just a little bit warm. See if you can soften your shoulders, stay tall through the crown of the head. There we go, I think. One more big breath here. And then on that next inhale, you're going to keep your legs as they are, just reach your hands above the head and clasp behind your back this time as you exhale. So setting up for a humble warrior, squeeze the palms together and take a breath in, lift and puff that chest a little bit. You're going to hinge from the hip and exhale, bow down, letting your chest come to rest just to the inside of that left knee. Now, if this is a little bit too much, you can undo your hands and just put your hands onto your front leg. That is always an alternative. Otherwise, about 3 more deep breaths. If you want more for your shoulders, squeeze the palms closer together, lift the hands higher. One more breath. And as you inhale, we're going to unclasp the hands, come to a reverse triangle. So you're going to straighten that front knee, reach super long here through that left side. And then exhale, cartwheel down, bend your front knee. Hands are going to frame that foot, drop your back knee, and let's release the front leg by inhaling into a little half split. You can always pull the heel a little further forward if you need. This can also be a great time to use some sort of prop if you have a block, or just take your folded blanket, make your arms a little bit longer, pad your knee, whatever you need to do. Give it a couple big breaths. You can also play a little bit with what you do with the foot here, rolling your pinky toe a little heavier, your big toe a little heavier. And just notice how that affects what you're feeling in your body. Take another big breath. And then on the next inhale, rebend that left knee, come into your lunge. We're going to sweep the hands overhead. And left hand to left leg as you exhale, try to stay really low in the hips and then tilt right over to the side. So you're going to lean that right arm over to the left. We're not turning our chest in any way, but try to really keep the hips low. We get into the psoas, a hip flexor that way. Your front foot, rather than clenching it, try to spread the toes and just make that foot big. Take another big breath. And then inhale, both hands up to the sky, reach it up nice and tall. And exhale, downward dog, bring both hands down, step both feet back. If you prefer child's pose or all fours, you have choices. Give it a couple just pedals and wiggles and reset however you need to. Another big breath. And then on that next inhale, find your right leg, lift that foot to the ceiling. And exhale, step forward to crescent lunge, feet hips width apart, little bend to that back knee. We'll inhale, rise. Soften through your shoulders here. Just keep a steady gaze. Try to relax your jaw and keep your breath nice and strong. Breathe deeply enough to actually feel it in your body, feel it moving your ribs. One more breath in. And as you exhale to warrior two, pivot that back heel down, drop your hands, and then reset as you inhale, front knee straightens, lift and lengthen, and try to keep long side bodies as you exhale, rebend that knee, get nice and low, try to push the right pinky toe a little bit heavier. Give it just a couple big breaths. So strong and steady in this posture. And then that next inhale, just the arms rise overhead. Behind your back as you exhale, let's clasp them together. Shrug the shoulders back, take a big breath in to puff. Little hinge as you exhale and then roll on in, coming down to the inside of the right knee this time, or just taking your hands onto that front thigh. So pretty big difference between the lower and upper body in this pose. The lower body's doing a lot of work, lower body's active. Upper body, you can just sort of let it flop down, let it hang. Let's take one more breath. And we're gonna undo the hands, inhale, reverse that triangle, front knee straightens, right side lengthens. And then rebend the front knee and exhale, hands to floor. Pop that back heel up off the floor and lower the back knee for your half split. We'll inhale, hands and hips crawl back. Again, you can always scoot the right foot forward a little bit if you need. Use any props that help you, try to keep the hips fairly square. And then consider just a little exploration, doesn't have to be anything big, maybe dropping a toe or two towards the floor. Another big breath. And then inhale back to your lunge, sink the hips. Let's reach up long through the arms. And this time, right hand, right leg as you exhale, keep everything facing forward and then just tilt straight over towards the right side. If you feel like there's tension in that left shoulder, then soften your left elbow a little bit. One more of your biggest breaths. And then on that next inhale, both hands lift, rise overhead, and we'll fold forward this time. So as you exhale, both hands to the floor, just step it up, left foot next to your right foot, feet parallel. And inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way to standing, root down, lift strong and tall through the arms. And exhale, hands to heart. Big breath in, reach up again. And exhale, dive it down. Inhale here, halfway. Exhale the right leg back. We're gonna come straight to warrior two this time, so drop that heel. Take a big breath in, lift up, stacking shoulders above hips, long and tall through the spine. Give it just a couple big breaths. You've got a strong bend into that front knee. And this time on your inhale, reverse warrior, flip the left palm. We keep a good bend into that left knee. An extended side angle as you exhale, simply cartwheel the arms forward, giving a somewhat deeper bend into that left knee, putting pretty minimal weight into that left hand. Pushing your right pinky toe firmly into the floor and reaching as long as you can through that right arm. Take another big breath. And then inhale back to reverse warrior. Sweep that left arm up once again. And a 5-pointed star as you exhale, turn the body to face the side of the room nice and long through your arms. And as you exhale, just bring your hands to your hips. We're going to turn the feet now so that you're a little bit pigeon-toed. So your heels are a little bit wider here than your toes, and then clasp your hands behind your back as you inhale, lift and puff that chest. We've done this a couple times, so hopefully feeling a little bit more accessible. Soften the knees and exhale, bow forward. If it is too much at any point, you can always bring your hands down onto the mat. Otherwise, take a moment, make sure your knees are soft versus locked. If you dare, you can shift a little more weight towards the balls of your feet. Makes you feel like you might face plant, but I really haven't seen that happen. Take another breath in. And then hands down as you exhale. Just let your hands come to wherever they naturally reach on the floor. Shift a few times from side to side to get into your inner thighs and legs. Just at your own pace. Find a depth and intensity that feels okay to you. One more breath. And then when you next inhale, you're going to bend that left knee quite a bit, pivot yourself so that you face the front of your space again. Bend your back knee and take a breath in. Crescent lunge once again. Let's lift those hands above the head. And exhale, hands down to your hips. Just pause a moment, contemplate lifting that back foot. I'm going to lean forward just a little bit and rise as you inhale to Ekapada. Right knee to about hip height. We're going to find eagle pose. So as you exhale, you can always keep your right big toe kickstand to the floor, come to the inner leg or hook the back of your thigh. Your hips are going to want to turn, so try to keep them squared forward. And then inhale the arms out to T. We'll take that right arm underneath. So you can either bear hug or wind the arms together, push your hips back, sink your hips to a depth that you're good with. Find what works. I'm just going to kind of squeeze everything in towards the midline. We've done a lot of chest and front body opening today, so just take a moment, puff into that upper back, squeeze it in nice and tight. Let's take just one more big breath. We're going to inhale, unwind to Ekapada. So if you can, keep the foot lifted, reach the hands tall. And then just gently, as you exhale, lower it down. Hands to heart, shift the weight, reset. Take a moment and just breathe. That next inhale, hands reach above the head once again. And exhale, we'll dive it down. Inhale here halfway. And now that left leg back as you exhale, step long, straight to warrior two, pivot the heel and take a breath in, lift up, stretch long through the arms. Soften a little bit into the shoulders if you can. Give it just a couple deep breaths. So really try to feel the use of your legs here, legs active and strong. And then that next inhale, reverse, right hand flips, reach up and back. And exhale, extended side angle this time, tilting forward, reaching long through that whole left side. Try to keep, again, little weight into that right hand. Make sure your right pinky toe is heavy, so to keep that knee from wobbling in. Your left side is really long. One more full breath. And inhale back to your reverse warrior, right hand up and back again. This time, exhale, just bring arms to T. We're going to straighten the front knee, pigeon toe the feet. So once again, your heels are a touch wider than your toes, arms overhead as you inhale. And bow straight forward as you exhale, landing your hands to the mat. When you land your hands, walk your hands forward about a handprint or so that you can really bring more weight into the ball of the foot. And then take your right hand, smack underneath your face, rock forward enough you've got a little weight in that right hand, and inhale, left hand to sky. You can always put a block or a blanket or something under that hand if this is too much. Another breath in. And exhale, lower left hand to mat. Again, left hand in front of your face, a little weight in that hand. We'll inhale now, right hand to sky. And breathe. Another big breath in. And on your exhale, bring that hand down. 2 to 3 more breaths here. Any little shift, shimmy, wiggle, shake you'd like. And on your next inhale, perch to fingertips, rise halfway. Right knee bends as you exhale, pivot to face the front of your space, back heel up for crescent lunge. We'll inhale, root that foot, reach, hands to sky. Exhale, hands to heart, just get the hands out of the equation. Again, just kind of set your gaze, know that you're gonna be picking that left foot up off the floor and inhale, big step. Left knee to hip height. As you come to eagle, you wanna get a tight binding of the legs here. So tight at the top, even if you're keeping that toe on the floor, squeeze it in, and then eventually arms are gonna come out, the left arm underneath this time. The hips push back as they sink down. And you do breathe this whole time. Okay, just one more big breath. And then we'll inhale, unwind, lifting that left knee. Again, reach the hands up. And exhale, lightly land, roll out your feet, your ankles. Pause just a moment with the eyes closed, just assess where your breath, where your body are at. Inhale together, hands reach above the head. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale here halfway, find your length. And down dog on exhale, root the hands, step the feet back. Big pedal of the legs. We are moving from here into child's pose, but do feel free to take a couple breaths in dog if that is appealing to you. If child's just sounds amazing. Anytime you're ready, you can drop your knees, tuck your hips back to your heels. When you're in child's, either your head is on the floor, or you can always stack your hands underneath your head. But again, take the extra breaths here in whichever of these postures feels more needed for your body today. Take just a few more big breaths. Just let yourself really melt down. So find as much ease to this shape as you can. Try to keep your attention on your breath. And then on your next inhale, begin to rise, slowly lift right back up. Come back to all fours and take a couple breaths. We are going to be coming onto our back, and you are going to need your strap. So take a breath or two just to finish resetting that spine. And whenever you're ready to come down to your back, again, make sure you can reach your strap. Blanket, probably also good to have just in case you want it for Shavasana. So it's nothing worse than getting super comfy, ready for Shavasana, and realizing something you want is not nearby. So have everything close so you can just settle in. But come down onto your back, take the arms out nice and wide. Let's just start with a windshield wiper of the knees. Just rock your knees a few times from side to side. Try to keep the shoulders anchored. You're going to feel the weight sort of shift across the hips, the back of the pelvis. Give a little release here to the low back. I'll dim those lights so you're not staring up at them. Oops, sorry. Oh, those are off. And then as you're ready, inhale, bring your knees into your chest and just squeeze into a little ball. Give yourself a little rock from side to side. Take another big breath in. And as you exhale, set your feet back to the floor, grab hold of your strap. We're going to take that strap and just lasso right around the arch of your right foot. Kick your right foot up towards the ceiling. So right at the highest point of the arch. About equal lengths of strap on either side. See if you can reach your hands really, really high up the strap and then drag your hands down so that you actually create a little bit of tension on the strap. If you can, your upper arm bones are actually resting on the floor so that we're not involving the shoulders here. I realize that's a whole lot of proportions going on, but if you're able to do so, upper arms on the floor, a little bit of tension, a little bit of tautness to that strap, and your knee, try not to lock it out. So keep it as bent as you need to make this feel okay in your hamstrings. You want to feel like your arms, your hands, a little bit more of anchors than anything else. Those right toes moving subtly towards the wall behind you, and the left leg does not matter if it's bent or straight, just completely personal preference. Give it just a few big breaths. Take one more inhale. And as you exhale, both ends of this, excuse me, strap into your right hand, left arm to T, and exhale, drop that right leg out to the right. You still want to keep a little bit of tension and pull on the strap. So it's almost like you're trying to coax your toes a little closer to the wall behind you. And just stop at whatever point, likelihood that the foot will not come down to the floor, and that is not the goal. So just however far open it drops, but your toes still pulling to that wall behind you. Left arm can be to T. Again, left leg can be bent or straight, whatever helps you keep that left hip grounded a little bit better. Give it just a few breaths. And then that next inhale, lift the leg back to the sky. You're going to straighten your left leg now if it's not. Take your left hand to the strap, and as you exhale, just maybe up to 6 inches, pull that leg across the midline. So we're not going very far. We're not getting towards the twist just yet. We want to target IT band out of the outer portion of the leg. So still a little bit of tug on the strap, like you're trying to pull your toes to the wall behind you, but your right foot barely crosses the midline here. And it is always going to vary from person to person, but just stop when you feel the stretch. It tends, however, to be not that far that we have to drop the foot. Take one more breath in. And as you exhale from now, you can move into that twist. Just make sure your right shoulder does not lift so you can start to drop your right foot closer to the floor on that left side. Now, your alternative, if that's too much, is to just let go of the strap and use your left hand to hold on to your right knee. So if it's a little bit too much at the leg straight, just let go, hold the right knee with that left hand. We want to make sure we're still staying in that twist. So again, your right shoulder does not lift. Take another big breath. And then inhale, release that foot back up to the ceiling. Under your strap, and exhale, hug that right knee in towards your chest. Your hands just interlace around the front of the shin. Take a big breath in. Start to flex both of your feet. And as you exhale, lift your forehead towards that knee. Now, a few options, just a little bit of core engagement. You can also start to hover your left heel off the floor. You can also let go with your hands and just reach your hands to really involve the abdominal muscles. Let's take just one more big breath in. And then lightly release as you exhale, foot drops, head drops, right foot to mat. Let's take just a little windshield wiper here before we switch sides. One more of your biggest breaths. And then feet back to the floor. Take your strap once again. This time we're going to loop highest point of that left arch, right at that highest point. Reach your hands way up the strap. Keep the knee soft, but slide your hands down, creating some tension onto your strap. If you can, arm bones on the floor. So I feel like both sides of your sacrum here, so your left, your right hip, are both equally weighted and heavy onto the back or onto the mat. Couple deep breaths, so breathe deeply enough to feel it. Good. Your next breath in, both ends of the strap, the left hand, right arm to T. Keep a little tension on the strap and exhale. Begin to slowly drop that left leg over to the left, stopping wherever your body tells you to stop. Still as if you're just easing your toes to the back wall. One more big breath. Inhale, lift the leg. We're going to swap hands with the strap. Now straighten your right leg. Exhale, left arm to T. Pull that left leg across just a few inches. Does not have to be far, just enough to feel some sort of a pull somewhere in the outer left leg. One more inhale. And as you exhale, now make your way to the twist. You can let that left leg come over. Your left hip is going to lift pretty high off the mat, but your left shoulder should stay grounded. Again, you can always let go of the strap and just bend the left knee. Use your right hand to hold onto that leg. Few big breaths. And then on that next inhale, foot back to sky. You can undo your strap and exhale, strap over to the side, grab your left knee, hug it in, take a big breath in, big squeeze. And exhale again, lift up, forehead to knee. Feel your core engage. If you want more, hover the right heel, maybe let go with the hands. One more big inhale. And exhale, lower gently. Give that left knee a final squeeze and then both feet back down onto the mat. Set your feet down, arms wide, give a big windshield wiper so that when your knees go one way, you're looking the opposite direction. So roll your head from side to side as you windshield wiper the knees. And then let's take just one little round of bridge pose here. If you have a block and you'd like that more restorative bridge, you can always take that block or folded blanket, prop it under your hips. Otherwise, feet about hips width distance apart. Reach your hands towards your heels. Give a good tuck of your shoulders. We're going to inhale and really try to puff the chest. Spread the toes wide. And as you exhale, push into your feet. Lift the hips using the weight here in your feet and in your shoulders. Try to make sure we're not putting a lot of weight into the back of the head. If you would like to clasp your hands behind your back, roll your arm bones a bit further under the body. That is a way to deepen the pose. One more big breath. And as you inhale, lift your heels off the floor, under your hands, reach your hands to the wall behind you, and then roll down on exhale. Just one little vertebrae at a time, super slow. Once your sacrum touches, release your heels. Give again a little windshield wiper of your knees. And then from here, we're going to come into a reclining butterfly pose. So soles of the feet together, knees wide. Now, if you'd like support, you can take that rolled blanket and tuck it back kind of right between your sit bones and your heels so that your legs have a bit of support. Find what works for you, but take one hand onto your heart, take the opposite hand onto your belly, and just close your eyes. Take a few of your deepest breaths. Just feel that connection, that little sense of grounding from the hands on the torso. And try to breathe deeply enough to actually move your hands when you breathe. Make sure your jaw is slack, your breath is steady. A couple more big breaths. And using your hands, you can reach down, push into the legs, bring the knees back together, and opposite shape for just a few breaths. Knock your knees together, heel toe your feet wide so your knees support one another. And take a breath in, reach your hands straight to the ceiling. Wrap yourself in a tight little bear hug as you exhale along the upper arm bones to nice and snug around the rib cage. The hands just sort of drop. Take a couple breaths. And then inhale, we'll switch sides, undo the arms. Opposite arm closer to your chin this time. Wrap it nice and tight, and then just let everything release. Next, inhale, hands back to sky. Just reach the arms long. We're going to bend the knees now as you exhale. Hug the knees into your chest, grabbing them with the hands. Big squeeze, big breath in. And exhale, forehead to knees one last time. Just round that upper back. Take a big, big breath in. And lower gently as you exhale, making your way into your Shavasana. So if there is any final pose, wiggle, stretch, anything you need, take it now. You can start to set up any props, whether it's the rolled blanket underneath the knees or across your pelvis. So anything at all you need to get comfortable. So Shavasana, doesn't matter what shape you choose, just find something that resonates well with your body, that truly feels good and comfortable to you. And take up as much space as you need. Again, any position, any props. And one thing is just to give a little tuck of your shoulders. So you also make sure that your breath does have just an easy path. And together, we'll take a big breath in. Biggest inhale you can possibly take. Pause just a moment, hold the breath. Big exhale, release every single drop. And as you do, giving yourself truly the space, the permission to disconnect and let go. You're no longer trying to control your breath, body, or mind. Instead, just allow yourself to settle. Start to notice, start to deepen your breath once again. Just take a moment, laying comfortably in your body, just breathing deeply. Reawakening your body, little movements, just wiggling your toes, your fingers. Giving a gentle roll to your wrists and to your ankles. Slowly shake the head no. And then inhale to a full body stretch. Let's lengthen and reach the body long. As you exhale, knees bend, hug them into your chest, give a tight squeeze. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, roll over to whichever side is most comfortable for you and pause there to take a breath. And if you can, keeping your eyes closed, try to stay anchored with that awareness as you begin to gently press your way up to a comfortable seat. So just finding something that feels good to your body, however it is you choose to sit. Try to find a tall spine, soft shoulders. And once again, just completely relax the muscles of your face. Settle hands into your heart space. Closing this morning, one final shared breath. As you next inhale, the arms are going to circle. Take a big reach, a big stretch, tall above the head as the palms connect. Exhale, hands to heart. Thank you all so much for being present here this morning to share your breath, your energy, your practice. Have a beautiful weekend. Namaste. Thank you all so much. Happy Friday, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Enjoy your day. Thank you. Thank you, online folks, as well. Have a good one.